What's up YouTube, it's Zapdos TCG here and welcome to another Pokemon TCG video on my channel. As you know, on my channel we talk about the latest cards and new decks in town, so be sure you are subscribed so you don't ever miss out. And hitting the little notification bell will let you be the first to know when a new video hits the channel, so definitely do so. Okay, with the pre-releases of Celestial Storm starting next weekend, I couldn't resist giving you the knowledge of the best cards in the set. So follow me on a journey while we look over the most powerful cards of the set. And if you like what you see, be sure to demolish the like button as usual. So as a little side note, this is just my opinion. If your top 15 list looks entirely different or if I forgot a card, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. First off, let us start with the honorable mentions. I have a couple of honorable mentions that I did want to include in this video. I did not put them in the list on purpose because they are reprinted trainer cards. The three cards I wanted to talk about, the first one is Acrobike. This is a fantastic item card that lets you look at the top two cards from your deck and you can put one card in the hand and the other one goes to the discard. I can see this card being used in a lot of speedy decks, but also in decks that, for example, only run 4 double colorless energies and nothing more. So they don't run any basic energies, only those 4 double colorless energies. We've seen it before with things like the Zoroark deck that Tord Ratcliffe used at the North American Internationals. Yeah, only 4 energies. Well, in speedy decks like that, you definitely want item-based draw, and that has been proven itself worthy throughout the years. So why not include Acrobike to draw into that double colorless energy more quickly? Also, in a lot of decks nowadays, definitely want energies in the discard pile. Think about Molamar, for example. So the downside of the Acrobike can work as an advantage too. So definitely a solid card, but I didn't include it in the list since it's a reprinted item card, and the answer of your question is already yes. You can use the older copies of your Acrobike if you happen to have them still lying around somewhere. That's pretty awesome, right? Moving forward, another honorable mention is Fisherman. This card will be just in time before the rotation takes place, so Fisherman will be sticking around for another season. But what does it do? Well, it lets you search out your discard pile for 4 basic energies. It's a great card because it's seen play in Greninja Break, but also in other decks like, for example, Magnezone decks. And Magnezone has a lightning variant and a metal variant, so I might not be surprised that Fisherman might find its way in one of those decks in the future. Also, Alolan Ductrio, another one of those rogue decks, also loves the card. So I'm glad to see it reprinted in the Celestial Storm set. The last honorable mention is Copycat, a card that has been around in the Herd Gold Soul Silver era more than 8 years ago, so seeing this immediately brings a smile to my face since I use that card a lot. I even got second at Nationals during that period in time. So what does Copycat do? Well, you shuffle your hand into your deck and then you can draw the same amount of cards that the opponent is currently holding. So a very solid card indeed, and will work out against Zoroark GX decks the best because those decks usually deal with big hand sizes because of the ability trait. So a very solid draw supporter that we will most likely use because after rotation we lose N and Sycamore, so an ideal welcome here for another draw supporter. Okay, now that we got the honorable mentions out of the way, let's check out the top 15 best cards of the Celestial Storm set, in my opinion. Number 15! First card on the list is Tate and Liza, the gym leaders of the Moss Deep City in Ruby and Sapphire. In the trading card game, they come as a multiple choice supporter. We've seen this before with cards like Giovanni Sheem, so it's nothing new, and I actually like the versatility of supporters like that. So what are our options? First instance, we have the draw support option. You can shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 5 cards. So basically it's a Shauna. The other option is switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. I know Shauna didn't see a lot of play during her lifespan, and a regular switch is also not being played a lot, but here's what I think. It's kind of great post-rotation because first off, Floatstone gets rotated out, so getting free retreat with your Pokemon will become a little bit harder. Not only that, both Sycamore and N get rotated in September, as I already mentioned, so getting a little neat draw supporter like that will definitely be a nice inclusion in most decks after rotation. Yeah, if something better comes along, we will scratch that, but for now, it's a very neat draw supporter we'll gladly take. Number 14! It's Metagross, and actually, we are gonna cheat a bit here. I'm also gonna include Steven's Resolve here. That's a supporter card. Steven's Resolve states, search your deck for 3 cards and put them directly into your hand. Then your turn ends. So in theory, the supporter card is very good until you read that last sentence. Letting your turn end is kind of meh, since cards like N and Judge can disrupt your hand afterwards. But I wanted to let you know what Steven's Resolve does before we take a look at Metagross. Okay, Metagross is a 170 HP Stage 2 non-GX Pokemon, so it has a ton of HP, that we can agree upon, but it also comes back with a sweet ability. It's called Extend. It states, when this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and you use the supporter Steven's Resolve, your turn does not end. And now we're talking. We can always rely on that support to get out everything we possibly want. If we get out one of these Metagross early game, then we can rely on Steven's Resolve, and we can easily get out a second Metagross by getting out a rare candy and another Metagross, for example. So basically it's a snowball effect. And not only that, Metagross is also quite the nice one energy attacker. Meteor Mash deals 60 damage, and if you use that attack during your next turn, it deals 120 damage instead. So basically it's designed to be a two-shotting attack. And since you only need one energy, Max Potion will be the ideal combo, so Metagross, a non-GX Pokemon, will be a very nice card to test out indeed. Number 13 is for the new stadium card called Shrine of Punishments. This is an insane stadium card that states every GX and EX in play receives 1 damage counter between turns. Holy macaroni, that can add up quickly in the long run. Every non-GX based deck will enjoy using this to easily access one-shotting attacks. Also, spread decks will enjoy this card so much, so we might actually see a viable spread deck at the top tables. Also, certain cards like Drampa GX can now become a little bit better because their damage output gets increased, and Drampa GX also needs damage counters on the bench in order to hit for huge damage, so I think this card will definitely pop up in a few decks here and there. I know it's easily field blowed away, but it deals damage between turns, so as a bare minimum you at least have a one-time use out of it. Number 12, here we have Ludicolo. Do you guys remember the Empoleon from Ultra Prism? Yeah, that was kind of a bit hyped up and did not prove itself to be worthy, but I think Ludicolo might be better in that regard. First off, it also has the amazing weakness to Lightning, and why is that good? Well, that's because Lightning is not being played at the moment in the standard format. Also, it has an ability that states, once during your turn, you can draw a card. And as we've learned with Zoroark GX, drawing cards is always good. But it doesn't stop there. It also has an attack, Circular Steps. This attack deals 70 damage plus 10 more for every Pokemon in play, excluding this Pokemon. So let's do the math together. I know it's, you always watch videos to relax, but we're gonna do math regardless. Let's say the opponent has 5 bench Pokemon. Because Bridget happened and all that shenanigans. And we also got a ton of bench Pokemon. We also got 5 out. Don't forget, Brooklyn Hill is amazing to do that. Well, then we deal 70 damage, plus the 50 damage from our bench, plus the 50 damage from our opponent's bench, plus 10 damage for the opponent's active Pokemon. Well, then we deal 180 damage as a maximum. Add a choice band in the mix, and we will be dealing the most significant amount in the current metagame, 210. And that for a water and a double colorless energy on a non-GX Pokemon. Also, with cards like Aqua Patch and maybe Zoroark GX that also deals damage depending on the bench space, we might just have a solid deck right there. Ludicolo. Number 11, Shiftry GX. We already took a look at Ludicolo, but did you know that Shiftry GX is a little bit better? It has a GX card, which adds its HP to a ridiculous amount. It has a monstrous HP of 240. Yeah, that's right, that's amazing. And it doesn't stop there. It's a grass type. We hit weakness against Lycanroc GX, which she's a lot of play actually. And also it has a fantastic weakness. A weakness to fire is kind of irrelevant. Volcanion and Volcanion EX will be leaving the format soon, so say goodbye to those. And it also has sweet attacks. The first attack, Perplex, deals 40 damage and leaves the opponent's active Pokemon confused. We all know that being confused is a nasty situation to be in. One wrong coin flip and you might say goodbye to your active Pokemon. You might as well throw it in the discard pile. So always a sweet attack, and as we've seen before with Espeon GX, it works. But then the extra sensory attack deals 90 damage. But if you have the same amount of cards in your hand as your opponent, you deal 180 damage instead. Again, if we throw Choice Band into the mix, we got that magical number 210, and that KOs a bunch of popular threats in the current metagame. How do you get the same number of cards in your hand? That is the question. Well, I can answer that easily. We have cards like Judge at our disposal. The new Copycat is amazing. Cynthia will definitely help you out if the opponent has 6 cards in the hand. We can manipulate our hand a little bit with Ultra Ball here and there. So it's definitely easy to get that same number of cards in the hand. Definitely if you decide to pair it with Zoroark GX, which again seems like the obvious choice here. Looks like Zoroark GX is just pairable with almost everything. Also, it's a GX move that it has, and that one lets you select one of your opponent's Pokemon, and then the opponent has to shuffle that card and all cards attached to it into their deck. And let's say that's the only Pokemon they have, well, you win the game there on the spot. But most situations they will always have a bench, so don't celebrate just yet. I don't think this GX move is that great, to be honest, but I do like Extra Sensory, that second attack on the Shiftry GX that has a bunch of HP. Number 10, Deoxys Attack Form. This amazing new Deoxys makes its way here on the number 10 spot, just because this one will immediately replace the Mewtwo from Evolutions as soon as that one rotates. It has the exact same attack, Psychic, which we are all familiar with, 20 damage plus 20 more for every energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon, and that again for a DCE, so an exact replacement right here. And we all know this is being used, of course, to one-shot pesky things like Boswell GX. If Boswell GX has been powered up with 3 energies, well, we only need a choice band and boom, they are one-shotted. We can start one-shotting them, and it's always easy to have a Boswell counter that is so easily accessible thanks to just a double cardless energy. So it's making its way back into the set, so that is awesome. We can say goodbye to Mewtwo and welcome Deoxys. The only difference is that it has 10 HP less than Mewtwo, but it also has 1 retreat cost less. So I do think Mewtwo's a little bit better with the HP amount, but 1 retreat cost less. When Floatstone rotates, count me in. Also, its second attack, Power Blast, deals 120 damage. You have to discard 1 energy attached to Deoxys, but this could also be a sweet 1 prize attacker in Malamar decks, for example, so a very sweet card indeed. Number 9, Swampert. Did I say drawing cards with an ability is good? Well, Swampert takes that to the next level. This is a 160 HP non-GX Water-type Pokemon. It comes packed with the ability Power Draw, and what a powerful draw it is. It's basically the trait ability of Zoroark on steroids. Once during our turn, we can discard a card from our hand in order to draw 3 cards. Wow, that's insane. Can you imagine getting 3 of those out, drawing 9 cards per turn? That's crazy. Again, the snowball effect comes into play here. As soon as you get your first Swampert in play, it's very easy to get the second one out and potentially the third one. The reason it's not higher up on the list is because it's a stage 2 Pokemon, and also the damage output is a little bit limited since it needs a ton of energies to do a significant amount of damage. The Hydro Pump attack is something we've seen on a bazillion cards already. You deal more depending on how many water energies you have, and this one deals 80 damage plus 20 more for every water energy attached to Swampert. So this one won't be coming for huge one-hit KOs unless it gets a ton of energies attached, which might seem very challenging, to be honest. Although we do have Aqua Patch and it does have a significant amount of HP, so we might just, Swampert might surprise everybody. But for now, it's on the number 9 spot where it is. Number 8, Dunsparce. Remember the EX Sandstorm set where times were simpler? Oh, the nostalgic fever kicks in right here. Well, they decided to reprint in a very, crazy way. It's the exact same card with the exact same attacks and exact same stats. But that's just amazing because it was in a World Championship deck, and we can now start using Dunsparce. But what does it do? It's all about the strike and run attack, to be honest. That attack is just crazy. It's a Bridget as an attack as well as a switch, which is crazy. So it searches your deck for 3 basic Pokemon and put them directly onto your bench. Then we shuffle our deck, and if we put any bench Pokemon at all, we can switch our Dunsparce with one of our bench Pokemon. So this will be amazing to use once the famous Bridget rotates from the standard format. How many live streams or big tournaments have we seen that first turn Bridget is crucial? Well, now we can definitely set up our bench once again thanks to these fantastic Dunsparce. Every setup deck will definitely try and enjoy this because you know how it works. If you go second, you can make the most out of it, and it will be like Bridget never left. But if you start first, it's a little bit more difficult since it'll be a turn behind. You cannot attack on the first turn, but if you go second, Dunsparce is the way to go. I'm putting it on the number 8 spot. Number 7, Banette GX. Okay, Banette GX at first glance does not look to be very strong. It only has 190 HP, the weakest HP we've seen as a stage 1 GX Pokemon. It has a weakness to darkness which screams, Zoroark, please kill me! Yeah, indeed, Zoroark will be having a field day, so but don't let this card fool you. It has an ability called Shady Move. Once during your turn, you may move one damage counter from one Pokemon to another Pokemon, and this does not specify which side. So you can put one damage counter from one of your Pokemon to one of the opponent's Pokemon, or you could put one damage counter from your opponent's Pokemon to another one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's just that versatile. Just moving those damage counters will be awesome to use every single turn if it's active. Everything's possible. This will help you to get those unreachable KOs here and there. Also, it might screw up the map for the opponent if they try to two-shot you, which is always a great thing. Its first attack deals 30 damage, plus 10 more for every supporter card in your discard pile. And you cannot use more than 10 supporters to add the damage up, so it caps at 130, which is not bad. It can one-shot a lot of one-price Pokemon, and with the help of a choice band and the ability to pop one damage counter here and there, you might be able to get a surprise Lele KO. So that is always a great thing, since almost every deck runs that. Also, we are a Psychic type, which is a gift from God, because if you're a Psychic type, you can hit for weakness against the Necrozma GX, Boswell GX, Espeon GX, etc. So it's a very great type to be at the current metagame, and that only if you have 4 supporters in the discard, you can start hitting those one-shot with a simple choice band, and that for itself is very good. So that's why it comes in at the number 7 spot, but also has the Tomb Hunter GX. No Tomb Raider here, but it's just the attack, just as the exact same thing like Hollow Hunt GX from the Scizor GX. And we can all imagine, we saw a bunch of live streams during that period in time. Hollow Hunt GX, get yourself some Lysanders to win the game. Well, we can do the exact same thing. Putting 3 cards from the discard pile in the hand is just that great. You can get your Crucial Guzma, a last specific card for a combo to win the game. Very nice recovery after Puzzle of Time rotates, just to clarify this. Number 6, Celesteela. Well, when you first look at this card, you'll say, oh my god, 4 energies, really? Well, that doesn't look very good, but when you take a little bit closer, you see that the attack has a little bit of side effect. For a single metal energy, we can start dealing that amount of damage if we have if the total amount of prize cards with both players combined is exactly 6. And now we're talking. With the cards like Ultra Space, we can easily search out this card at the specific moment when we need it in the game and hit for 160 damage. With Choice Band, that's 190 damage, so a ton of popular Pokemon will be afraid of this amazing Ultra Beast. We could also rely on B-String to set it up, but that's a little bit on the weird side here, but it could also work out. It also has the bulk that it needs, and with Metal Frying Pan, this is just it turns into an enormous HP that they have to hit in order to one-hit KO it. It has 140 HP, and also that I mentioned that it has a fighting resistance. Yeah, indeed, it's very, very great. Currently, it's the best weakness that it has because it's weak to lightning. What more can you wish for a card? 140 HP, great resistance, great weakness, and a 1 energy attack. I'm putting it at the number 6 spot. Number 5, Scizor GX. Do you like powerful Metal-type GX Pokemon? Well, you came to the right place. You'll enjoy Scizor GX a lot. It's a Stage 1 210 Metal-type GX Pokemon. It has a weakness to Fire, which is pretty okay, and a resistance to Psychic, which is totally awesome. It has a crazy ability, Danger Perception, that states as long as this Pokemon's remaining HP is 100 or less, this Pokemon's attacks deal 80 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon. So in theory, if the opponent tries to two-shot you, they will be in a sorry. Haha. It has an attack Seal Wing for a metal and a colorless energy that deals 80 damage, and during your next turn any damage done to Scizor GX is reduced by 30, so you can have a two-shotting attack here with some bulk by your side. I do like this attack because if you can get it off, the opponent will most likely never one-shot your Scizor GX. They will need to hit for 240 damage in order to one-hit KO it, and if they don't one-hit KO you and try for the two-shot, boom, our amazing ability kicks in. Also, did you know if you use the first attack, the ability has been kicking in, let's say the ability has been kicking in and you use the first attack, you can max out at 160 damage. Pair that with a simple choice band and boom, we're off one-shotting things like Ultra Necrozma GX, Boswell GX, and more. Pretty awesome, right? Also, it comes back with a crazy GX move, Crosscut GX. It deals 100 damage, and if the opponent is an evolved Pokemon, you deal 200 damage instead. So that GX move can make quick work of a lot of popular Pokemon in the format. Not to forget that if the ability kicks in, we can max out at 280. So even things like Metagross GX won't survive that hit. So quite nice, and also has more potential because you can even bench a couple of Dalmites of the Guardians Rising set to boost the damage output even further. So definitely deserving here at the number 5 spot. Number 4, Scizor GX. I already made a separate episode about this card, tested it out in a battle video, and made a deck profile. Why is that? Well, because it's just that good. This Ultra Beast comes packed with the amazing ability Ultra Wall, reducing all damage done to all of your Ultra Beasts by 10. This also stacks. Yeah, no lies here. With 4 Scizor GXs, you stack the ability together, well, the opponent will be dealing 40 less damage to all of your Ultra Beasts in play, which is crazy to think about. Cards like Banette GX have now risen in popularity thanks to this card. Buzzwole GX gets a little bit more buff. Duskmane and Necrozma GX, all of the Ultra Beasts in general will enjoy the addition of such an amazing defensive card. But don't let it fool you. This card can also pack quite the punch and go on the offensive. It has the attack Gigaton Stomp. It only deals 120 damage. It's a sweet 2-shotting attack or 1-shotting if you're weak to metal, but that's not where it's packing the punch here. It's all about the GX move, Assembly GX, dealing 50 damage plus 50 more for every prize card you have already taken. So let's say we only need 2 more prize cards, meaning we already took 4. Well, boom, out of nowhere, Scizor GX deals 250 damage. Isn't that insane? It's capable of one-shotting a lot of things in the metagame. Just rely on things like B-String to set it up, and ta-da! You got your late game sweeper prepared and ready to go. And that's what I think that's why I think it's one of the best cards of the Celestial Storm set. Number 3, Latias Prism Star. The only Prism Star card of the video, so it better be a good one, right? And yes, definitely, that's an understatement. This is a solid must-of in every dragon-based deck. It has an attack Dream Mist that deals 30 damage, which is already sweet for 1 energy, but unless not like Registeel, you only recover 1 energy. Well, this recovers way more. Listen to this. It states, attach 1 basic energy from your discard pile to each of your benched basic dragon-type Pokemon. This is energy acceleration at its best. Let's say you have 4 dragon types on the bench, because let's face it, you'll have at least 1 Lele on the field somewhere during the game. Well, we can then attach 4 energies from the discard immediately to your dragon type basic Pokemon from there, setting them all up for their attacks, and that is on itself very amazing. Also, it has 130 HP, getting it out of the reach of the Righteous Beating KOs here, so that is always awesome to hear. Of course, this will be such a nice card to combo with the certain legendary dragon type mascot of the set, which will cover later in the video. So Latias Prism Star on the number 3 spot. Number 2, Magcargo. A 90 HP fire type with an attack that deals 50 damage for 3 energies and it has a 3 retreat cost. Isn't that amazing? Well, we're not looking at that at all. We're looking at the ability here, so that's why it's on the number 2 spot. Let me explain here. I think this card is insanely good and it deserves its spot on the number 2. Well, it's all because of that ability Smooth Over. Once during your turn, you can put any card you want from your deck on the top of your deck, and after you shuffle your deck, of course. So basically, it's like half of a Mallow and an the format is just crazy. Yeah, just thinking about it, it makes me smile so much. But did you forget, if you're playing Zoroark GX, how crucial Mallow plays can be at a certain point in the game? Well, imagine that you have access to that one Mallow every single game. Wow, that will be amazing. You can just use Magcargo, put something you want on the top of your deck, and you're done. You use the trade ability of Zoroark and off you go. So the only thing, let's say, you need a double Colorless energy. Well, no problem. Magcargo puts it on the top of the deck, Zoroark draws it out. Needed Enhanced Hammer to get rid of some special energies? No problem. Boom, it's on the top of your deck. Need a Guzma for the turn? Nope, no problem. Put it on the top of the deck. Need a counter card like Deoxys for opposing Buzzwole GXs? Well, no problem. It's already on the top of the deck. Did you know how good Magcargo is? Well, that's a couple of examples here. There'll definitely be an inclusion in almost every Zoroark deck that opens just the door for the exact place you want at the exact time. And that's why I think it's one of the best cards in the set. Did I forget to mention that Zoroark GX has been dominating the season season long, so Magcargo will be such a help for those Zoroark builds. Also, we talked about Ludicolo and Swampert in this video. Those cards can also make use of Magcargo, so we'll definitely try Magcargo out, put something on the top of your deck and win games. So that's why I'm putting it here at the number 2 spot. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, can you guess it? The number 1 spot. It's Rayquaza GX. Of course it had to be Rayquaza GX, proving itself worthy by dominating and winning the Japanese nationals in all 3 divisions. That speaks for itself. And why is this card so amazing? Well, is because it's crazy fast. I tested it out, it's definitely so fast. It's really consistent and it can dish out a ton of damage. We already talked about it in a separate episode on the channel where we reviewed the entire card and talked about some deck ideas. But for the new subscribers, or if you just want a little recap, let's go over it once again. I'm prepared here. The ability Stormy Winds states, when you place Rayquaza GX down from your hand onto the bench, you may discard the top 3 cards from your deck. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I suggest you do it in the early phases. If you do, you can attach a basic energy from your discard pile to Rayquaza GX. It can also be the energy you just discarded, so that's how fast it can be. Use the attack and hope for an energy poof as off. So basically it sets itself up. If you run through enough basic energies, you will see that it adds up. Pair this with a manual attachment of the turn and some max elixirs here and there, and your field out of nowhere will be filled with a ton of energies. And why do we need that many energies? Well, Rayquaza GX deals more damage depending on how many energies there are in play with the attack Dragon Break. Yeah, that's how amazing it is. Let's say you just have the worst luck in the world and you cannot use, the ability fails, you don't have energy in the discard and stuff. Well, you can always rely on in the late game or in the beginning of the game on Latias Prism Star, use Acrobat discarding some energies, Sycamore discarding some energies, and out of nowhere you can use Latias Prism Star to fill up your entire bench. And the Dragon Break attack goes like this. It deals 30 damage for every basic lightning and basic grass energy you have in play. So if you have 6 energies on the field, which is not that hard to pull off, I've tested it before, you deal 180 damage. Pair that with a Choice Band or a Fighting Fury Belt. Maybe that'll be a little bit better to add your HP up, because 180 is not the best, but the damage output is the best, because that way you can have crucial KOs, and that's why it's deserves its spot on the number 1. I already made a deck profile video, so be sure to check that out as well to learn more about how Rayquaza GX gets this fast. Also, I tested it out, as mentioned, in a couple of matches, and I was very satisfied with it. It's not the most broken card ever. It can get one-shotted by a lot of Pokemon. There's also a tech card like Dedenne to have a counter against it, but it's definitely a contender to do well at the World Championships. Okay, now it's time for you awesome subscribers to go wild in the comment section. What card are you looking forward to most? Did I forget a few cards? Be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Let's get the discussion started, and also post your top 15 best cards in the comment section. Just feel free to do that if you have a list of your own. And that pretty much wraps it up for another Pokemon TCG video on the channel. Be sure to demolish the like button if you enjoy what you saw, and if you're looking forward to Celestial Storm, well, I have good news for you. Definitely subscribe, and I'll be opening up a ton of packs on the channel. Next week there's a pre-release, and in 2 weeks time there's a booster box, so a lot to look forward to indeed. Anyhow, this was Zapdos TCG here. I wish you all a very fantastic rest of your day. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Pokemon TCG video. I'm out. Peace.